And first and foremost, hey, thanks everyone for joining in today's webinar. My name's Rick Kramer, and I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. So without further ado, I'm going to turn off my camera so we can focus on just the content here. And I got to tell you, I'm excited. This is really such a game changer. So here, without further ado, let's get right into it. Revit revisions made easy. And if you don't know me, my name is Rick Kramer. I'm a technical solutions specialist here at Great Tech. And in this session, we are going to have a jam-packed session with information around Ideate BIMLink, Ideate Sticky, and Ideate Automation. I got to tell you, I'm excited to tell and present to you today everything about these solutions. And by the way, if you have any questions, take a look down below for the QA panel. And here's where you can ask any questions. We'll get to your questions. We'll answer your questions at the very end. So please make sure to look for that QA panel. All right, but first, before I get into the presentation, who are we? As a company, we are so much more than just our software. We're a dedicated team of real-world experienced users determined to help you. We are known for our extensive online help system, including product documentation, workflow topics, and educational videos. By the way, Ideate Solutions here support all the latest versions of Revit, including the last 4 releases of Revit. That includes anywhere from 2020 all the way to 2024. Our solutions come across Revit, different versions, and are available in every location. By the way, we also have ROI calculators that are online to help you explore how our Ideate solutions can help your team. And by the way, we're also available in all different 7 languages. And recently we just added Korean, so that's kind of cool. So take a look at that. All right. So let's start off. What is the big deal and what is this webinar all about? Well, it's all about document issue records. Here, we'll take a look at why Revit lacks some of the basic information that users are looking for to be displayed on their cover sheets. But first, let's go through and identify what the challenge is. Some of our clients require a sheet schedule that shows information and revisions on a sheet in a tabular format. This information typically is generated, let's say, manually on Excel. The problem is Revit only displays the current revisions on a sheet, or either revisions per project or sheet. And by the way, there's no real built-in solution into Revit. Even though Revit is an amazing application, it doesn't have anything to really show us all the revisions or something like addendums per sheet. And another challenge is revision clouds only appear in title blocks when those sheets are placed with those revisions. In other words, all the information can only appear if we open each sheet at a time. Well, this is challenging, and by the way, it takes a lot of time. So here is where Ideate Solutions come into play. First, how do we achieve this? Well, easily. We're going to break this into really kind of 2 parts. First, I want to show you how we're going to use Ideate BIMLink and Sticky to use tools to overcome these challenges of bringing information. In this case, we're looking at document issue records onto our projects. Then I'm going to show you how we're going to use Ideate Automation to pull it all together and use this in an automated workflow so that we can just get more time to more important things in our lives. So, first of all, what is Ideate BIMLink? Well, Ideate BIMLink allows you to export huge amounts of parameter or properties data right into Excel. You might be saying, well, I can do that already, but a lot of the information that comes from Revit isn't your typical schedules. In BIMLink, we can start to go through and export out non-BIM data into Excel to start to manipulate it. Then by utilizing BIMLink, we can review and make changes seamlessly and push these back into the Revit model. I got to tell you, this is an amazing tool. And by the way, if you haven't noticed yet, if you haven't used BIMLink, our BIMLink UI is pre-configured with 350 link definitions that allow our users to be more productive quickly and easily without ever having to know any type of JavaScript or programming knowledge. It's just that easy. If I can do it, you can do it. So let's take a look at the first part, and we're going to go through and I'm going to show you live how we can identify the challenges in Revit and see how we can use BIMLink. What we're going to do is I'm going to start to run Revit and look on how we can start to go through and create revisions typically on a project and where the challenges are. Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Revit. Let's take a look at the challenge. In Revit, the revision tool allows us to go through. Here we go. Wait a minute. Here we go. In Revit, the revision tool up at the top of the ribbon allows us to place revisions very easily inside of Revit. This process allows us to add information in sequential order per drawing. We can include different types of sequences, and here I've created a custom sequence for the Snowden sequence that I call that has alphanumeric numbering systems. Here I can simply start to go through and add different information in our revision history. In this case, the date, addendum number 4, who created it, and then to show the cloud or the tag or none. Here I'll add another addendum, and here I'll start to create these within the Revit interface. You'll notice over here now to start to place it, I'll go into the ribbon like I would traditionally and go through and place each one of these revision clouds per sheet. I can begin to go through and add this information manually and adjust each addendum that also needs to be placed per sheet. As you can see, when I place this information, it updates the information in the title block. All's fine and dandy, right? But it's not. If we go through and take a look at the properties here in the title block, I want you to notice that it only shows the current revision. It only shows us addendum 4 and 5. It doesn't give us any previous information. So that's a problem. If we wanted to show additional information, how do we start to go through and do that? And here is where BIMLink comes to the rescue. Here in BIMLink, what we're going to do is narrow down our information and look for just revisions. We're going to browse our existing library of definitions, of link definitions, to include revision numbering, revisions on sheets, and revisions. This way, we're only looking at items of information that pertain to revisions. Here, what we'll do is link that information and bring that into our UI. Now, what's nice about this is that we can start to go through and review the information, in this case, our sequences that we've gone through. We can make adjustments if need be right through the UI. Over here, we can verify all the information of all of our addendums. And what's really nice is without ever having to open all the sheets, we can see all of the different addendums and revisions on all of our drawings that we have here. I want you to notice I have a column of all the information. And in this case, what I can even do is I can filter and look for information that is regarding just addendum number 5. Automatically, it'll just show me addendum 5 that's on this particular sheet, and then I can tag additional addendums on that particular drawing. Keep in mind, I'm not even opening up the Revit sheet. All the information is updated through the UI. I simply close it, and now when I zoom in, the information is updated on the sheet. I don't know if you just saw how powerful this is, folks, but I got to tell you, this gives me goosebumps. Because previously, all of this information would be very difficult at best to do. Very, very easy and fun. Now, let's start to take a look on how we can go through and create this challenge. Now, in this case, what I want you to know is that, oh, wait a minute. Let me go to the next slide. Sorry. Let's take a look. In the previous example, we used BIMLink to add revisions using the BIMLink definitions. Now, for faster definitions, what we're going to do is go through and include all of this information here using Ideate. What we're going to do is bring in all of the information and here use the UI of BIMLink to add all the additional information on these drawings. You'll notice right now immediately it added all that information to the sheets. Without ever having to go into the sheets, I can start to begin to do that. But let's say I wanted to go through and import this information globally on a bunch of drawings instead of one at a time. I can export all my information out to Excel and then use the power of Excel to change multiple data cells at once by simply dragging the information and changing it from false to true on the individual sheets that I want to change the sequencing for. Here, by changing the information in Excel, all I have to do is save the data and then re-import that information into the project. Over here, if I expand this, you'll notice everything in yellow is the new updated information that I had updated in Excel. Now, in the background, you can see I've updated that information on all of our sheets. Keep in mind, I have two methods of doing this. Again, one through the UI, and another one is if I want to make mass changes to all of the drawings using Excel. I got to tell you, either way is great. This is what I call a win-win solution. Now, in the first example, we updated using BIMLink just for a couple sheets. Now, what I'm going to do is use BIMLink to export out all of my information to a document issue record template, which, by the way, this document issue record template that I'm going to be using right here can be requested via our online support. I'll export all the data record sheets by utilizing the sheet link definitions for revision numbering. When I open up Excel, you'll notice that I have all the data information for this particular sheet listed in a tabular format. Now, what I'm going to do is go back to BIMLink and remove, in this case, a filter that I had placed. The filter over here had just addendums. I'll go through and re-export that information to our link definition sheet. And when I go back and open it, now I can take a look and see all the addendums, all the information on all our sheets. This includes all the addendums and everything on every sheet. I got to tell you, that was easy. And by the way, all of this information comes directly from Revit. If we want to update the information in Excel, we can update the project name. We can even update information like the address, or even update information like adding a graphic information, like our Ideate software. If I wanted to change that out, all of this information can be added in our Excel spreadsheet, which ultimately is going to lead us right to the next thing. Here, let's take a look at how we can start to go through and use BIMLink. We're going to reuse and remove the filter assignment on the sheets. Here, in this case, what we're doing is we're exporting out all of this information back into our BIMLink Excel data. Our information is now going to have all of the information in this Excel spreadsheet. This addendum all information now has all of our information and graphics in one simple, easy to use interface. Here, we're taking a look at filters again, and I'm going through and removing some of our information. And again, here we can see all of our information. Now, all the information that I just placed, remember, is now in an Excel spreadsheet. How do I start to go through and get that data back into Revit? Well, here's where we use Ideate Sticky. This is a tool that allows us to use non-linking, non-BIM information right into Revit. And you might be asking, well, what are non-BIM data that you might put into Revit? Well, Ideate Sticky gives us the opportunity to not only just link non-data, but what exactly is non-data? We looked at Excel, but here we can use Excel, Word, PDF as schedules and images to bring right into Revit with automatic updates. That way, any changes to our Excel document, our Word document, or PDF document, if we select and choose the option to automatically update, that information will automatically update in Revit in real time. This is amazing. This eliminates the manual creation of any Revit schedules that might be static and reduces liability and saves time. And remember, in Revit, it's always one single source of truth. Now we continue that single source of truth by having real information using BIMLink and Ideate Sticky. All of that information, by the way, can also be republished across different projects without ever having to open up Revit. This means users that don't even have Revit and just use Excel, Word, or PDF and generate that information can update that information anywhere on the network and use Ideate Sticky to stick that information directly into a Revit project. So let's take a look on how we display this matrix of sheets and revisions right back into Revit. Here we have that document issue record file in Excel. I'm going to go ahead and close it. And within the Revit project, I'm going to go to Ideate. Actually, first I'm going to create my title block. Then go through using Ideate Sticky, identify the areas and information that I want to bring in. I'll give it a new name, in this case, Snowden Revision Schedule, and click and place it. That's it. That's how easy it is. And one of the things that I want you to notice is the fidelity of the image. Regardless if it's Word, Excel, or a PDF, the information is legible and it's not rasterized. This information is as crisp as it is when we see it in Excel. So how do we start to go through and take a look at this information? Well, let's go over here and see how we can start to use this information. Again, utilizing Ideate BIMLink, we can extract that data right into our document issue record. And then we're going to use Sticky, to stick it to our Revit project. So there's no need to create dummy schedules that are detached from our single source of truth in our Revit project. Here we can use all of our solutions, including BIMLink and Ideate Sticky, to generate this information and stick it into Revit. Now, as I mentioned before, that was the first part. Let's see how we can bring it all together by utilizing Ideate automation. Well, first, what exactly is automation? Well, let's take a look. Ideate Automation is a Windows-based application that works outside of Revit. And this automates the Revit tasks, and it's compatible with all versions of Revit from Revit 2020 through Revit 2025. And it can run with or without the Ideate software solutions. And depending on the task, this Ideate Automation can include BIMLink, Ideate Explorer, Ideate Style Manager, and Ideate Apps. It automatically runs all of this information. So let's do a quick review on a visual on how this works. On the left-hand side, here's what we're going to be taking a look at is Ideate Automation and BIMLink. In Ideate Automation and BIMLink, we work together to bring these two pieces of information to bring into our Excel document. Here within the power of Excel, we run our powerful macros within Excel to generate our information. In this case, we're looking specifically at document issue records. Keeping in mind, all of those scripts are already included in BIMLink. So there's nothing that we need to create from scratch. Then we're going to use Ideate Sticky. Ideate Sticky takes the information from Excel and places it into Revit. Within Ideate Sticky, we can turn on the auto import. This will go through and bring in that information automatically. And then to bring it all together is the green line of automation. We can automate this task to run on any type of schedule that we want, giving us up-to-date information all the time. We can even run it overnight when no one's even working. I got to tell you, this is really, really nice. So what does this look like? At the end of the day, when we're looking at our Revit project here in the top right-hand side, you can see that I've placed this document issue record information, and it's automatically going to be updated. You'll also notice, which we didn't talk about this time, is our health report. This is another solution that's built into our solutions of BIMLink. And in BIMLink, we can start to go through and automatically go through and export out live data on the health of our project. I got to tell you, as a BIM manager, this is a game changer. So let's take a look on how easy this is, wrapping it all up in a nice pretty bow using Ideate Automation. First, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at just the revision management. Again, like what we did before, but we're going to use Ideate automation to batch export out all our revision data to our document issue record template or DIR template. So let's see how this works. Again, I'm going to put it all together and automate this next. Here, by the way, before I get into the automation, I want you to know that this can automatically be ran and scheduled through our Ideate automation tool. We can have this run daily, weekly, monthly, or just one time. We can give it a description. The nice thing about it is you can set it and forget it. So before we get into it, let's take a look. Here's how this is going to be done in a simple 3-step process. First, we're going to run the built-in scripts to create our document issue records. We're going to then place this document issue records in our Revit project using Sticky, and then we're going to use BIMLink to update the revisions on the sheets and rinse and repeat as needed with automation. So if you're ready, let's go through automation. Here in automation, I'm going to go through and simply go through and run the Ideate automation tool. Here, I'll go through and use the document issue script that ships with built-in with Ideate automation. We'll go through and identify the Revit project and select those files. Here, we'll use our DIR template that can be requested by reaching out to our support. I'll select the folder in which I want to export this information to. Remember, here is where we're going to go through and create our document issue record. We're going to include all of the link definitions and include all of that information as follows. We're going to export to the following information. We can give it a unique name and a path. Built into BIMLink are all the different examples that we can use and browse to them. And it's already included. What's nice is there's nothing that you need to do. Just hit next, verify everything, and then run. You'll notice at the very bottom of our Ideate automation, it goes through and opens up Revit. What's nice is this suppresses any of the dialog boxes that would normally show up in Revit. In this case, it opens up Revit. And if this was running in the background at night, we wouldn't have to do anything. Ideate automation suppresses all of the information and even closes work sets, allowing us to work smarter and easier on our projects. Again, there's nothing I need to do. I can run this overnight. Over here, I can see that it's completed that task and I have a log file of every automation that I've ran. Here's a library of all of our different folders of scripts that are included. And now what I'm simply going to do is open up that first Revit project. Remember, first we created the script to go through and create our Excel data. And now I'm going to open up Revit simply because this is an easy way to go through and open up Revit. All I'm doing now is going through and opening up Revit for the first time so that I can begin to place that Excel spreadsheet. You'll notice over here that I don't have it listed yet in my title block. I'll use Ideate Sticky to now place that information. I want you to notice over here, I'm going to go through and create a new sticky. I'm going to point to our Ideate definition that's on our computer that we just created in our earlier step. I'll verify the information and then hit OK. I'll place a check mark over here for auto update. This is key because now all I have to do is place it once. After I place it onto my sheet, I'll go ahead and close this and then move it to the location where I want it to go. Keep in mind, folks, this is live linked. Any of the information is automatically going to update. All the information is going to show up clearly, such as the dates, my schedule, the sheet scale, the project numbering information in a tabular format. This would normally have been done manually in Excel. I know I used to do it manually. Now all of this information gives me the opportunity to have this information created automatically. Here we'll start to place some additional addendums. And when I place that information, I want you to notice it writes that information automatically. Here, what I'll do is, again, I'll redefine the information, looking just for revisions, looking at my link definitions. The information here can easily be updated without ever opening up all the individual sheets. Utilizing the UI, all I have to do is click inside to adjust this if needed. I can start to assign different addendums to different sheets. How quick is this? I don't have to open up any of the sheets. Here, I can identify the sheets right through the UI, assigning those addendums. Then simply close that information and then write that information back to BIM Collaborate Pro. Remember, this is a synchronized cloud file, so everyone on my team will have that information. The next time this project is ran, let's say we ran this again at night, it's going to open up Revit one more time and now place that information. Let's say this is the next day. I've opened up my project, and now in just a moment, I'll see all that information that has been updated already on my title block. Ideate Sticky is automatically ran because my Ideate automation tool is going through and running several scripts. Over here, you'll notice now I can easily start to go through and verify all that information. I'll repeat opening this just to verify this information and take a look at my Revit project. The whole idea here is that I don't need to do all the heavy lifting. Create it once, set it, and forget it. And here in Revit, again, it's opening up that dialog box where I can verify that information and take a look at my Revit project. By the way, I can also identify which versions of Revit need to open up which versions of the project. I'll update this information, and automatically it updates all of that information, showing me all of my addendums in my previous step that I had assigned through the UI. This includes all the addendum 2, addendum 1, all the information right there at my fingertips. All of that information utilizing any type of varying revision numerical information, in this case the ABCs that I did, will show up automatically on my title block. This is how we put it all together using Ideate automation. I gotta tell you, I am super, super excited. So again, here's our Revit homepage now with our updated information. I gotta tell you, this is exactly how I want to work in Revit. I know customers that won't work without Ideate solutions. It's amazing. I gotta tell you, now is the time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Remember, the Q&A section at the very bottom of your screen, take a look at that. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us questions now. In addition, if you want to follow us afterwards, please feel free to follow us and visit us at ideatesoftware.com or follow us online on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We're here for you. And I got to tell you, Ideate solutions make everything better.